Oh, good morning viewers, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm riding out to the Amazing Bay water park. Going to do another water park since I found this one while I was looking the other one. It's quite a ride. It's going to take me about an hour to get out there. It's about 50 kilometres away. So I'll be taking my trusty steed, the new bike I've purchased to get around over here. And considering it's going to take about an hour or so, I figured I'd do a video on motorbikes in Vietnam. If you're thinking about renting one, buying one, whatnot, I'll try and answer some questions as I'm riding along and show you what it looks like riding through the middle of Ho Chi Minh City. So this is my bike. I'll give you a quick look at it. I managed to get hold of a Yamaha NVX 155. It's a slightly bigger scooter. They're got a little bit more power than the average bikes you see over here. It's pretty economical. It'll get about 40 to 50 kilometres on a litre of fuel, so the fuel bill isn't real high. Anyway, we'll get on the road and start heading to the water park. Now, riding a motorbike in Vietnam can take a little bit of getting used to. The rules are vastly different to what you're probably used to back home. If you're thinking about coming here to ride a motorbike, you probably should be aware that most of those rules don't exist. If you're expecting someone to give way to you, they're probably not going to. So if you've never ridden a motorbike before, it's probably not the best place to learn. But if you're determined to do it, I'd probably start somewhere out in the country that's a little bit quieter so that you can firstly learn how to ride a motorbike, and then secondly start getting used to the way traffic works in Vietnam. Now generally it's a bit of a pecking order. Pedestrians are at the bottom, motorbikes come next, then you'll have cars, and then you'll have trucks and buses. Basically how it works is everything gets out of the way of a truck or a bus. A car, well, if you're on a bike, you get out of the way of the car, and so on. So there is definitely a priority system, and it's in your best interest to obey that.
Turn right.
As you can see, going through an intersection, it's pretty much every man for himself, man or woman. You just do your best and you worry about what you're doing, because pretty much you're not going to have much say over what anyone else does. If you're expecting a bike that's coming out of a side road to give way to you, you're probably going to be wrong again. Just allow for the fact that they're probably going to come out into your lane and make room for them, as you can see there. They don't look, they expect you to understand what they're going to do. So the other key thing in Vietnam is if you come here and think you know bikes and you're the best rider in the world and you want to drive very aggressively, you really are not going to have a good time. You cannot ride that way here at all. It is totally defensive riding. Confidence plays a big part in it, because just as bad as being too aggressive is too timid. Because if you start stopping in the middle of traffic and making sudden movements, you're going to mess with the flow. But overall, it's a pretty enjoyable experience. Once you get used to it, tends to make sense, and you can pretty much navigate around reasonably well. These bikes are definitely the quickest way to get round because you can weave in and out of traffic. Now, a few pointers if you're coming here and you want to hire a bike and go for a ride, do some of the scenic things, and I can tell you now I can recommend it, as you'll see some of the most amazing scenery, find some of the most amazing places that you won't find on a tour. Most people fly clean over the top of. So, helmet wise, you've got the Vietnamese choices, which you can generally see around, which are basically, for the most part, like an American style baseball helmet, which if you're riding around town, there's probably plenty enough. If you're looking to get out onto the open road, I'd probably suggest getting something a little bit more sturdy. It's probably a good idea to bring something from home, as there's very few places here where you'll be guaranteed of getting a safety approved helmet. There are some. Tidget, the motorbike hire place I hired the last bike I had from, they sell helmets that are safety approved, have all the stickers and whatnot, but it may be easier just to bring one from home. Most of the hire places will offer you helmets that you can rent from them or free with the bike. The issue with that is you don't know that helmet's history, how many times it's been dropped, has it been in an accident. Realistically, you're taking a big risk using a rental helmet or a helmet that comes with the bike. As I said, around town, the little plastic foam insert helmets are probably fine. You're not going very fast, you rarely do more than 30-40 kilometres an hour. The other issue with full face helmets generally is it's very hot here, so they can be very uncomfortable. So you may want to invest in maybe an open face helmet if you definitely want a approved helmet. Otherwise, it's up to you. Do what you want to do, and but just remember, the safety's up to you. As for riding gear around town, well, currently I'm in a t-shirt, thongs and shorts, so not much safety gear happening there. Out on the open road, I'd wear at least enclosed footwear. I mean, a pair of boots is ideal. They have their own issues, which I'll explain, but you want to protect your feet. You're out on a highway or whatnot, it only takes a decent rock to your foot and your holiday's in a lot of trouble. Pair of jeans, once you're on the road and moving, the temperature's not too bad. You've got the wind and whatnot, but as I said, it can get quite uncomfortable. If you're going to wear full gear and full protective gear that you might wear back home, you're probably going to be unable to keep up with the water intake you need to stay hydrated. And you're going to be very uncomfortable. Boots, while good proper boots are a good thing, if you happen to get caught in a torrential downpour here, as I did last time I was here, those boots ended up weighing about 3 times their normal weight in the water that was trapped in them. So that was pretty unpleasant. As I said, at least enclosed footwear. It gives you a little bit of protection against anything that flicks up off the road, and you know, you'll generally be a bit more comfortable. Hiring bikes in Vietnam, there's multiple places you can go and the quality will vary dramatically. You can go for your little hotel rented town bikes, which are basically like a 110 scooter that's been ridden quite a lot. So they've got a fair bit of fair bit of Ks on them, but you can get them for $6 or $7 a day. If you want something to go on a good tour with, you can go anything up to a CB 500, enduro bikes, whatnot. They're all available from some of the really good retailers, and they're going to cost you a lot more, anywhere up to $60, $70, $80 a day. End of the day, you get what you pay for. But don't get me wrong, if you're in a place like Hoi An or pretty much anywhere and you want to do a bit of sightseeing on a bike, the $7 ones from the hotels are perfectly fine for that purpose. Now your other issue, especially if you're from Australia, technically you cannot legally ride a motorbike in Vietnam on a tourist visa. There's no way to get a Vietnamese licence, and they don't recognise Australian licences, and they don't recognise the International Convention for International Licences that Australia are signed up to. So that's not going to stop you hiring a bike. Anyone will hire you one. Your only issue comes from if you get stopped by the police, you'll probably have to pay a fine on the spot. That fine will vary based on pretty much what's in your wallet. So keep that in mind. It's often wise to have a backup wallet. Keep a little bit of money in that for just that occasion, and stow the rest of your money elsewhere. Now, one thing here with traffic lights, you can turn right at a red light. That's perfectly legal here in Vietnam. My girlfriend Tao bangs on my back every time I stop and wait. But yeah, your system here of riding, it's pretty simple. You just got to be aware of basically what's in front of you. Mirrors are somewhat redundant. If someone wants to come around you and they want to let you know so you don't move into their way, you'll hear a few beeps. And those beeps will vary based on what it is. You'll know if it's a truck because it'll nearly scare you off your seat the first couple of times, but that means get out of the way. If it's a bike, it just probably means that, yes, I'm coming around you, please don't drift over into my path, which, it makes sense. Likewise, if you're approaching an intersection, let's face it, there really is no giveaway. Letting off a couple of goes of the horn to let people know you're coming through is probably a wise idea, and approaching those intersections at a slower speed. Just slow down a little bit so you can have a good look each way and then continue through. And as I said, you need to be confident and you need to be defensive. If you can be both those things, you're not going to have too much trouble riding in Vietnam. Now, traffic lights are a strange one. Since I first came here in 2018, people seem to be obeying them a lot more than they used to. You'll still see people just blast through them, do whatever they like. I mean, honestly, you're not here to hurt yourself, so just stop at them. Most people do, and really, do you really want to attract any more attention to yourself? No. I mean, I do that enough anyway. I'm a rather large Westerner sitting on a rather large scooter, so I stick out like the proverbial dog's balls. Now, if you're looking to move here and you want to buy a motorbike, that's an entirely different procedure. On a tourist visa, technically a foreigner cannot purchase and register a motorbike. There are ways around that. Most of the time, if it's a second-hand bike, the registration never changes. That bike might have been through 5 different people and it'll still be registered in the name of the first person that purchased it. The only thing you've got to make sure of when you get a bike here is that you have the blue card that comes with it, the registration card. Doesn't matter if it's in someone else's name. Having that card is your ownership of that bike. It's also the value of the bike. If you don't have a blue card, your bike is basically worthless because no one can prove its ownership. So keep those things in mind. You can buy bikes really cheap over here, and as I said, your mileage will vary on whether they're any good or not. That's just a risk you take with anything, really. Anyway, I'm going to shut up for a minute and just concentrate on riding. I'm getting into the main part of town, so I probably should know where I'm going. And enjoy the view for a bit. One thing I will say, I'm not going to record and post the entire ride. That's over an hour, it's a little bit too much, so I'll cut and paste a little bit of the ride all the way out to the water park, and I'll probably think of something else to say before too long.
Every day I see miserable people doing things they hate just to fit in. I know it's easier to get along peacefully, but have you ever thought about you? Don't know why I keep on doing what I'm told to do when the rules are made up by someone we never knew. Baby, wipe your tears and hear me out. We don't need someone to feel alright. Let's do the streets on a Monday. Let's call your exes and tell them they can join us too. Why always worry about money when you can give
Alright guys, I'm getting pretty close to the destination. Hope you found the video informative in some way. If you've got any questions about riding in Vietnam, hiring bikes, possible travel routes and whatnot, leave a comment below. If you like the video, please do subscribe. It helps me out, and I'll see you in the next video at the water park. Thanks guys.